He's supposed to be online.
This fund is for me. Trustees and others. Oh, there it is.
All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us to the regular meeting of the Lone Star College System Board of Trustees. It is 10:31 a.m. and I call the meeting to order. Please know that Chair Sullivan was not able to be here today. He had some work duties, so he asked me to preside on his behalf, and I gladly say yes.
Chair, I believe that's Chair Sullivan. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair Sullivan, yes. Thank you, trustee. If you could please follow me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation. All right, now I'm going to do some roll call. If I say your name, please say here. Trustee Kane, it's not here. Trustee Vote. Here. Right on time, sir. Trustee Murillo.
Here.
Trustee Mesa.
Here.
Trustee Stoma.
I'm here.
Trustee Broussard is not here. Trustee Wilson. And myself here. And Trustee Sullivan is not here, obviously. Thank you very much. So we do have quorum. Chancellor Castillo, has the notice of this meeting been posted?
I certify that the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the law. Chair Saldivar.
Thank you very much. And the next item is public comment. Ms. Barnett, has anyone signed up for public comment?
Yes, we have one person who has signed up, Dr. Bergdorf, who is here in person.
Doctor, please.
Good morning. I am Dr. John Bergdorf, President of the American Federation of Teachers at Lone Star College. This morning, among other agenda items, you will be considering action item 14, a resolution of support for the community college funding model enacted by the Texas legislature in 2023 under House Bill 8. As you know, under this bill, community college funding has shifted from a formula based solely on enrollment to a formula that partially depends on colleges meeting performance criteria. These performance criteria include credentials of value awarded, successful student transfers to four-year universities, and completion of sequences of dual credit courses. I spoke to the board about this model in September of 2023 and followed up with an article in our union newsletter entitled "How We Win with House Bill 8." The keystone of the union's hopefulness about HB 8 was that funding incentivizes behavior. When the state funded us based on enrollment, community colleges were incentivized to get as many bodies in the door and into seats as possible. With a shift towards performance criteria, we are incentivized to making sure those students are successful once they are here. 2 years in, Lone Star College has done very well financially under HB 8, as we all believed we would. Over that time, Lone Star has prioritized key service components of the college, such as advising, financial aid, and tutoring. We have focused very intentionally on reducing food insecurity for students and making course materials more affordable to students and accessible on the first day. We have continued to emphasize student activities that help them make valuable personal connections with the college and each other. All of these were emphases we had advocated for in How We Win with House Bill 8. I believe that these are all priorities Lone Star would have pursued whether funding was involved or not. But the statewide emphasis reinforces our resolve while assuring us that the financial support would be there. Other areas outlined in that article that we as a college could explore in the future include helping students with affordable childcare and accessible transportation. Finally, House Bill 8 incentivizes us to have courageous conversations about what happens within our classrooms. From listening to our union members, early fears about pressure to inflate grades have largely proven to be unfounded. Evidence shows that high standards, not low standards, drive success. Instead, we are hearing about healthy, supportive conversations centered on professional development and innovation. As a union, we are encouraging our members to embrace opportunities to learn and grow. No funding model is perfect, and we have seen occasional unhelpful actions in the name of student success. However, we believe we can work through those issues with the support of college administration, and that House Bill 8 has been a strong net positive for Lone Star. As time goes by and the state experiments with modifications, I believe we can all have an impact on making sure any changes continue to incentivize us to do more to support our students and the faculty and staff who are dedicated to their success. An official endorsement of this funding model, in solidarity with other community colleges across the state, could be a very useful step in that process. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Barnett, any other? All right,
There are
So
no
now-
more public comments.
thank you. So now we move to the approval of the minutes for the April 3rd, 2025 regular meeting. Are there any corrections to the meetings? All right. Hearing no. Do I hear the motion to approve the minutes?
Motion. Second.
Second, perfect. With a motion and a second, we will now take a vote. Everyone said aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. So the meetings pass. Special reports and announcements. Chancellor.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair, members of the Board of Trustees. Let me start with sort of special, the previous and forthcoming events, just have three. So on April 10th, we had the first annual now Lone Star College Greek Step Show. It was a great event. We had several board members there. Welcome your thoughts on that. But I thought it was a really nice event. And one of the things that surprised me for the board is how much my colleagues, the employees, enjoyed it. I kind of underestimated how much our own employees kind of needed an event like that. And so it was really, really nice to see people that I didn't know were Greek. I think there was people that didn't realize there were fraternity or sorority brothers and sisters. And so it really sort of created a lot of cohesion and collegiality amongst a lot of our employees. And so it was really nice. And so we'll be back next year. For those of you that were there, I mean, it was just, I mean, it was beautiful is really sort of the only way to describe it. Um, step as an art form itself is just so difficult physically. Um, and it was just a really nice event. And so we had that on April 10th. We had about 2,000 people there, which is not bad for sort of our first outing. And it was just really, really nice, and I'll leave it at that. We have another super nice event coming up. The Star Gala is this Saturday, folks. So hopefully we'll see you at the gala on Saturday night. It's at the Woodlands Waterway Marriott, where it's always been from 6 to midnight. I don't know if I'll make it to midnight. I'm telling y'all right now. Um, these cancer years are catching up with me. I made it to midnight barely last year. Probably not gonna make it this year, so you got to get to me early. And then we have the spring commencements. Really sort of the highlight, and all the board has received those. We have board members coming to every single graduation. And I'll just tell you this: the other day, someone asked me, they're like, "Oh, well, I'm going to come to your graduation." I said, "Which one?" So, well, how many do you have? I said, "We have over a dozen at this point." And I understand that Cypher may soon have 3 to sort of graduate. And look, that's the problem we want to have. Like how, you know, when as our percentages, like Dr. Bergdorf mentioned earlier, as our percentages of graduation goes up, I hope to have a problem where are we going to graduate all these students? What a wonderful blessing and problem to have. And so from May 8th to May 10th are the graduations with our capping the end of graduation season, May 10th is the graduation in Spanish, completely in Spanish. So again, like I told you last year, if you don't understand Spanish, you will be completely lost because the whole thing from beginning to end is en español. And so I'm the presiding officer over that one. And so I encourage everyone to come to at least one graduation. I wrote all the employees yesterday. Graduation comes out at the perfect time when you're starting to sort of, summer's but a dream, right? And you're just trying to get there. And you go to graduation, you're like, okay, this is why I'm here. And it sort of gives you the fuel to sort of make it those last 2 or 3 weeks before we start the summer schedule. And so those are really sort of the 3 things that I wanted to mention. I do have 3 recognitions today. And I'm going to start with the students, as we should always start with. So we have Mr. Alexander A.J. Jefferson, who's here with us today, and he's being recognized as the Barry Goldwater Scholarship recipient. Mr. Jefferson, will you come up? And I see you back there too, Dr. Caruso. Why don't you join us? Yeah, impromptu. Mr. Jefferson, you're probably going to need the mic right there. And we are keeping a record for legal reasons, so we got to be able to hear you. All right, so let me tell you guys a little bit about what the Barry Goldwater Scholarship recipient is. So Mr. Jefferson, from my understanding, is a singular recipient at Lone Star College. There's about 400 of them that go out in the entire country. He plans to transfer to Rice and pursue a degree in chemical engineering. It's about $7,500 per academic year. So it's a really prestigious thing. And you want to do chemical engineering, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so you're on your way to becoming Dr. Jefferson, right?
Right now, that's the plan.
No, we got to vocalize our dreams, Mr. Jefferson. You're on your way to becoming Dr. Jefferson, right?
Yes.
All right. So you want to get a PhD in chemical engineering, it looks like. And so I can barely read this, so you're going to have to explain to us a little bit what this is. So you conducted research in membrane distillation or other water treatment methods to develop efficient and economically feasible methods for desalination. What is that in plain English?
So that is the goal for my PhD. I have not done that yet.
Okay.
But as it stands, there's water scarcity in certain regions, and developing means of desalination in regions where they don't have the water that would fulfill that water scarcity. And right now it's very expensive. So developing technology to help with that process would be my goal.
And Mr. Jefferson, you went to Klein Collins High School,
Yes.
and you're a UP student actually, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, congratulations again. Dr. Caruso, I'd like to recognize you, ma'am. Is there anything you'd like to share with us about the program or
Yes, so
Mr. Soon-to-be Dr. Jefferson over here.
absolutely. A future colleague, maybe we can recruit him eventually.
That was going to be my next thing. You stole my next line. I was going to get his commitment to come back here and teach.
Absolutely. So this is an extension of our honors STEM scholar program that is really tried to, expand the footprint and access to these kinds of opportunities like internships that are called REUs, research experiences for undergraduates, that it's sometimes difficult for community college students to apply to and receive. And it's through those experiences that one can apply to have the papers and the application materials for something like Berry Goldwater. And so our RICE partnership, our Take Flight partnership, and our honors directors like Dr. Kim and our Berry Goldwater representative like Professor Lugo, this is just part of an extension of that program. So we're really excited to see how far it's gone in 3 years.
Okay, well, Mr. Jefferson, will you come back over here? Can I get your commitment to come back? And we're recording it, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put you on the spot. I just want to say this. Congratulations on behalf of the entire institution. We're so very proud of you. I understand that you're waiting on a decision from Rice. And just like I always tell students, Rice, we have to and Rice is a great institution, but we really have to put it in perspective as does Rice deserve you? Right? And sort of think about it in those terms. Because, I could barely read that. I don't even know. And you said that's your goal. Wow. So you spent 5 weeks in Costa Rica?
Yes,
¿Hablas español?
not great.
All right. Which is even more praiseworthy, right? You went to a country where you don't even speak the language. Good for you. And so there you learn how to run simulators to predict biofilm growth, analyze the data, and compare predicted biofilm mass with real world measurements. Okay, what is that? So
in-
you're already teaching us. You're already
Yes.
on your way there.
In layman's terms.
Thank you. That's what I need.
Sorry to
That's
put
what
it
I
that
need. No,
way.
no, no. I need layman's term. Fifth
When-
grade.
When it rains
Okay.
and you step on a rock, it gets a little slippery, right?
Yes.
So that's biofilm.
Okay.
And biofilm in streams. It's great for the environment. It can upcycle nutrients, but it's terrible for human consumption. So in certain areas like in a rainforest, you're not really concerned about human consumption. So you can encourage that growth. And so what we did is we ran simulations to see what kind of parameters would stimulate that growth or alter it.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. So thank you again. And I know we asked you to come last minute. I appreciate you coming. I'm sure you have a lot of things pulling on your time. So we appreciate you. Professor Kim, Professor Lugo, thank you so much. And Dr. Caruso, thank you. And I'll yield to the board unless the board has anything else.
Thank you for coming, and I want to say congratulations. And you have a big road ahead of you, but you can do it. I believe. I'm telling you, I believe in you. I believe that you're going to be the best in that, and wishing you all the best luck in getting your PhD.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jefferson or AJ, nice to meet you. Congratulations. I think I'm here with the chancellor just trying to, most of it went over my head, but I'm just trying to process it. But I'm just curious, myself being a citizen of Costa Rica and my dad being Costa Rican, I just want to hear from you about your experience. Where were you in Costa Rica?
I was in the Alajuela province
Yeah.
in San Isidro. So
Okay.
Texas A&M has a research facility there permanently. So I was in that research facility.
Awesome. Okay. Really cool. I have family from Alajuela.
Oh.
And actually my dad goes for that team. It's called La Liga de Alajuela. And then I go for the rival team called
Yeah,
So
that was going to be the next question. Who do you
Yeah.
cheer for?
Yeah,
in
who-
soccer and football. No, I'm not gonna ask that.
there's
but-
only one right now. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And like the chancellor said, Rice would be lucky to have you. So remember that. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And so next, over here to the left, we asked the faculty senate presidents to sit, and we actually have 2 faculty senate presidents that their terms are coming to an end, and it's Professor Kraft and Professor White. And I believe that Professor White, your successor, notice how I did not say your replacement, because we cannot get replaced as people. We can only be succeeded. Is Professor Hall, who's here with us today. And so on behalf of sort of the administration and the board, we did get you a small token of appreciation. I can tell you that, and I've said this many times, some of my favorite meetings are the faculty senate president meetings because they are incredibly lively. They're very, very honest with me, and I hope that they feel like I'm very honest with them. But we really work really well together, and I'm gonna miss both of you on that council because I think we had a really good run for the last 2 years here. And so if you'd like to come up, I'd like to present you with a small token of appreciation and then take a picture if the board will indulge me. Oh, yes. Would you guys like to say a few words? Okay. Wow. Professors who don't want to profess. Now this is an enigma. Okay, well, we offered. Okay, if you just come up over here, we'll take a picture right by that flag. Thank you so much. And if we can give them a round of applause. Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, sir. Next item is a presentation from the Chancellor's Cabinet. So we have a presentation from Dr. Bright.
Good morning. Today, we're going to talk about how Lone Star College is supporting students outside the classroom. We're going to start off by talking about a student assistance form that was launched this past August that allows for students to more easily access resources and ask for requests for basic needs such as food assistance, clothing, and so forth. To show you the results that we've had so far, we've had about 3,400 total requests since August, with the largest being food assistance, followed by housing assistance, which is becoming a bigger issue. And I want to say that there's a lot of people that are working to make this work. And so the people who process these requests are care stakeholders, several of them that are here. If you're here, if you want to wave your hand or stand real quick, those are all people who are processing these requests on a regular basis. Really excited about this idea of a care transcript. So one of our university partners came to us and said, hey, if Lone Star College provides assistance, we want to be able to match it when they transfer out. So went to our technology or service, and Chris Williams is just great, and Danny Rodriguez and Butch. They developed this care transcript form that allows us to be able to download reports on the services that we have offered the students. And the students can just take this with them to this particular university. Was talking to them earlier this week, and they're very excited about this process. It's really going to help us moving forward. The meal voucher plan, also the Chancellor's Scholarship. This is probably one of the more successful launches that I've seen since I've been here. Within the first month, this launched in August, within the first month, the target for the fall was already reached with over 430 students receiving assistance, 380 this spring. And these are students who receive vouchers to eat for free at our campus dining services. Now, our food pantries, we've had for a while, we call them care centers, but it's a little bit different now. Thanks to Daniel Erickson and Jaron Ryder, we now have some consistency and standards across all of them. And one of the things I'm the most excited about is that we're now able to track across the system. So as you can see here, from January to March, that's a 3-month period, there were over 8,800 visits to our pantries. So it shows you the type of need that is out there. Now, we cannot do everything for everyone, and we recognize that point. And so really excited that on May 19th, we're launching a nonprofit council. The idea behind that is while we cannot do all the services for students, there are a lot of nonprofits that can. So we are inviting these nonprofits to come in around these 5 topic areas of housing, financial assistance, childcare, and so forth. And we're dividing them by region. And the reason being, if a student's in Conroe and they need assistance, then we're able to real quickly go into region 1 and see which organizations will have that. Special shout out to Alex Meyer Technology Services for developing a database that's helping us out, and Danielle Miller, who is here, I believe, who is helping to organize this entire event, is doing a wonderful job in doing so. We had 30 organizations, but I believe we're over 40 at this point, right? Over 50 organizations that are coming out at this point. So we're very excited. It's going to be a full house. In the Care for Completion website, we've had this for a while. Jamie Posey developed it, and it's a way where if students want to go and find resources themselves without necessarily coming through us, they can. The difference that we're going to have moving forward is that the nonprofit council organizations will be what's listed on this site. The reason why that's important is that now these organizations, we can make sure the contact information is good, that they know our students, that they're ready for the scope of services that we're going to need. So we're excited about being able to combine these particular elements, and this become a hub for all of our type of basic needs services. Now, we started back in COVID a device loaning program for iPads and laptops. Wasn't as efficient. So what we've done is made it a bridge program. It's kind of a bridge to ownership. As you know, many high school students, when they receive Chromebooks, while they're in ISDs, well, it can be a shock when you come here and you need a device. So we have a program where we will loan out students devices in their first year. We restarted it this spring, had over 650 requests, devices checked out so far. And then thanks to Dr. VN, we now have in our partnership with the bookstore and the financial aid, we now have a way for students to apply their financial aid advance to be able to get low cost devices through the bookstore. And so that process is moving along quite well. Now, one of the things, and Dr. Caroline Redmond, a special assistant, she's kind of leading this effort. We have an emergency funding grant by the Greater Texas Foundation. And what this is a 3-year training grant that's training us how to more efficiently give out emergency funding. So one of the first steps we did was define what emergency aid is. And Doctors Nutt and Gonzalez and Nicole Robinson-Gauthier, they helped develop that definition that you see this in small writing right there, along with categories that we will fund. And so we have always had kind of disaster funding, but this is helping us to be a little bit more efficient. We started funding students in January, and 78 students have been funded up to this point, with the largest majority once again being housing, which is becoming a greater need for us that we're seeing with our students. This is a 3-year training grant, and I can tell you, Lone Star has done so well with this grant that the coaching visits have gone from, I think, an hour to like 10 minutes. Just because it looks like Lone Star is training all the other institutions in the cohort with the work that's being done here. And then I want to end by talking about the allyship program. And Brandy Ford knew that there's a lot of faculty and staff that are across the system that want to be able to help students, but they don't necessarily know how. So she worked with organizational development, have a 6-part training series that will train students, train faculty and staff in the resources that are available, as well as how to help students that may be dealing with poverty and other issues. At the end of the training, the participants will receive a decal that they can put on their door, similar to the safe zone that UP had. So that way, whenever anyone have basic needs help and they don't know where to go, they can look for that decal and be able to go to those individuals. So with that said, that's the presentation. I want to just leave you all with kind of just 2 main points here. One is that there are people from every corner of this system that's working very hard every day to make sure that the students' basic needs are met. And I think most importantly, the one thing I think we all would say that we all have learned is that there are a lot of students out there. They have the capability, they have the desire, but it's something outside of class that's keeping them from taking that next step. And I'm very proud that we work at an institution in which we're doing something about that. So with that said, that's our presentation. Thank you.
Colleagues, any questions or comments?
Dr. Wright, this is Mike Stoma. Look, I want to commend you on your leadership, but also the participation and collaboration throughout the system of folks who are contributing to what I call this holistic approach to education, which engages the community and not just the student. It's just cutting edge, and I think you guys have done a great job in evolving and continuing to involve it. Let me ask you, it's kind of a selfish ask, but let me ask you, what are you doing in the areas of emotional and let's call it the mental counseling to help these marginal students who need that type of assistance?
So we work very closely with communities and schools on our campuses. We have counselors that we work with. And so while I didn't mention them a lot, they're very much integrated into all these processes because what we found, Trustee Stoma, is that a lot of times those mental health issues start with some other issue that they're facing.
Right.
Right. So we're dealing a lot now with students that are parents, and they have just incredibly lot of pressure. So a lot of times whenever we're helping them to deal with some of these issues, whether it's food assistance or whether it's taking care of diapers or something for the parents, it's helping to alleviate some of the mental health issues that we're running into. It's all connected, Trustee Stoma. It's really all connected.
Well, one thing I found out in helping my grandson, who's now in Harris County sponsored program, he's finally found the right help. It's not intuitive. I mean, you and I had to talk. I had to talk to a lot of people to find the pathway for him to go to get the help he needed, and it's just not intuitive. One organization don't have all the answers. I mean, I had to go to a multitude of sources and figure out how to get him in and how to get him sustained. It's difficult, and I encourage you to look at the difficult path. And if you want more of a briefing on that, I'd be happy to do it. But it's a challenge to a level that even we can't answer, but we should be able to point people into the right direction and getting them to the right channels that can get them the help they need.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Stoma. Any trustees here present that would like to make a comment?
Yes,
Trustee Mario?
congratulations, Dr. Wright. The, sort of reiterate some of the things that Trustee Stoma mentioned about the importance of being a holistic approach and critical, and it's also important to be that the approach is engaging, and comprehensive. There's not a single transaction that's going to address some of these things. So you have to step in, understanding that it requires sort of starting with a passion that I can see, simply by listening to you and by your colleagues, complete belief in them, that they know that you do believe in them, so that that's going to encourage them to pursue or to continue or to not to give up, this kind of things. And above all, just be extremely optimistic. Optimism flourishes, in your words and what the work that our people are doing. So just want to encourage you and thank you.
Trustee,
Dr. Wright, I tell you all the time that you do an awesome job in the community, and that's what we're here for. The Lone Star Community College is for community, and this is like a vision that I've always said, we got to get with the community. We got to get in the community, and you're doing exactly that. You're taking the charge, taking the lead, and it's showing by the growth that we have. It's showing. And to me, I think people would be, or students would be, and families would be more comfortable coming to Lone Star once they really start to see like, hey, it's just not one person that cares, it's the whole system that cares. And that's what we need to keep and to continue to grow and to be better and better and better. And you're on the right path. And I appreciate your effort, the team, everybody involved in it, because it's not a one person effort. It's a team effort. It's not a I, it's a us, it's a we. And I think that's starting to trickle down to everywhere, because everybody has a need. It doesn't matter which campus you are. And I think that you all have tapped in and honed in on that. And I want to just encourage you to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until people look up, and then everybody's going to take your lead, Lone Star College's lead, and start doing it as well.
Thank you. Trustee Vogt, Trustee Mesa? Trustee
Yes.
Mesa?
I would like to say thank you, sir, for your presentation and for this information. I'm impressed by the food pantries and how well they look, how robust they are, and all the different products that we offer at the food pantry. The free help that we offer, the grants that we offer. I just want to say that I think, in my opinion, a big issue too with getting people the help that they need is having them first open up to admit that they need help. And I think them being able to go online and, kind of have some distance between opening up to someone that they think may judge them or any other thing that may just kind of diminish their need. And then also, I think people not knowing where to go for these resources too. So I think we cover that pretty well. And then, like Trustee Stoma mentioned, as far as emotional and mental health, I mean, I think that's a huge issue, especially nowadays. I mean, the increase, I was kind of, I don't want to say alarmed, but interested in the increase of housing needs and food needs. And I think that that's just a discussion that we can have as a whole on our community and why this is the case. And even though we try to address it, I think it'd be good to try and get ahead of these trends that we see and seeing how else we can address it in different ways through different avenues. I myself started going to therapy last year. And although I kind of fell off, I'm trying to get back on. And I just want to say, like, that's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. But it took me a lot of years to actually make that decision to go to therapy. And I think any way that Lone Star can help, um, you know, eliminate the stigma around just needing help and asking for help, I think that's a huge accomplishment for us, irregardless of all the amazing work that we're doing. But just like I said, getting rid of that stigma of people being scared and even embarrassed to ask for help. I think that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mesa. Any other questions or comments? Sir, yes.
Dr. Wright, I want to just take a moment to publicly thank you. I know this has been a lot of work for you personally, and you've taken a lot of this on top of sort of being president of Houston North, and I appreciate it. It's a massive undertaking. And as you know, Dr. Keshval and I have talked about giving you some help from the system office to really sort of lessen your workload, because the entire system is committed to this and it shouldn't be sort of your sole responsibility. Along those lines, I also want to thank all of the employees, because I can tell you that one of the big criticisms that I've gotten over the last couple of years that I've been the new chancellor is this really our core mission? Is this the things that we need to be doing? Why don't you just focus on enrollments? Why don't you focus on this, that, and the other? And it's very heartening to know that when we went all in, I mean, we spent literally most of our auxiliary money on these food pantries because they're now funded from the system office. If you don't think your work is having an effect, you know the data better than I do, right? Our graduation rates are higher than they've been in a long time, if not ever. Our retention rates are super high. Our student success rates are super high. And most importantly, the human beings who we are trustees for, all of us, aren't going through the day hungry, regardless of what their grades are. And so I want to thank all of the employees that have sort of poured their hearts and hours of labor in this once again, because not only have you sort of helped all these people, but you've legitimized a lot of sort of my system-wide initiatives and given me the strength to know that even when a lot of people challenge and criticize me and say, what are you doing? That we're on the right path. So thank you, Dr. Wright, from one human to another. I appreciate you.
Dr. Wright, can we please have your, everyone stand up who was helping you? Yeah, we just want to recognize them.
Everybody who we
Don't be
mentioned,
shy.
Dan.
Next.
Oh, and
we-
one, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, because I see him leaving, but I want my picture. Sorry, I forgot earlier. I want my picture. If you'll
Can we
just come
take a
up here.
picture? Yes.
Dr. Caruso, if you'll come up here as well too, and the professor, sorry, I meant to ask earlier, but I got caught up in the hype.
Do you
Yeah,
need,
over here.
do you need an excuse slip? Do you need a? Yeah, sir, can we take a picture as well? Can we take a picture with, please?
I'm sorry.
Picture? Can we take a picture?
Oh, the board wants a picture? Now the board wants a picture. I'm good. I got my picture. Thank you.
You also wanted to take a picture, Chancellor. All right, now the next item is a presentation from Faculty Senate. Thank you. And we have Professor, is it Wait?
Waits.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. I'm Chase Waits, Professor of Theater and Faculty Senate President at Lone Star College, Montgomery. Aside from teaching and directing, one of my favorite things is when a student and a nervous parent come into my office and the parent looks at me with a horrified look on their face and says, "What can my son or daughter do with a theater degree?" I smile and I simply say, "Anything that you want." Aside from the obvious theater-related professions like teaching, acting, directing, and design, theater classes bring on the soft skills that we are always asking for, that our employers are always asking for. The ability to think on your feet, confidence, public speaking, interpersonal communication, empathy. In fact, when Acting One was still in the core before the Higher Education Board revamped it, we would always have a cohort of nurses in our classes because they knew the value of communication and the communication skills that they'd pick up in the acting classes. My colleague and I spent 2 years working with Texas Children's Hospital, developing and executing workshops on communication. And we did communication workshops, we did leadership workshops, we did conflict resolution, all based on theatrical improvisational exercises. Who are we? We are 9 full-time faculty, 20 part-time faculty, a whole lot of support staff. And this semester, we're teaching over 2,000 drama students. We have an 82% density in our classes. Several of us are Faculty Excellence Award winners. We have faculty with Broadway experience. She used to assist Broadway director James Lapine and rubbed elbows with people like Stephen Sondheim, William Finn. One of our current faculty spends his summers designing for Netflix. We have one of our faculty who has been been an accent and voice coach on Marvel movies for the past 10 years, working with people you may have heard of like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. She even did the Barbie movie. These are the people that are teaching our students, and we're all members of local, state, regional, and national organizations. Aside from teaching, we, as a group, produce 25 productions a year, attended by 5,000 attendees with a ticket revenue of $35,000. And most of this money we give right back to the students in the form of theater scholarships. And occasionally we buy special equipment that aren't accounted for in our regular operational budget. We've earned state, regional, and national recognition, and we create community and campus partnerships. More on the partnerships, when we do a play that has a theme to it that aligns with a community partner like the National Bullying Prevention Center, we align ourselves with them and we bring awareness to what's happening in that organization. Often we take canned food for admission and partner with the Montgomery County Food Bank. We've partnered with our campus care centers, the Anti-Defamation League. We've mentored Life Path students, even had Life Path students as part of our productions. And most commonly, we partner with our campus subject area experts. For example, for our production of 12 Angry Jurors, we had the Criminal Justice Club come in and do a talk back following the show, giving a legal perspective of the fictional event that they just saw. Where are they now? Literally everywhere. We have a lot of teachers at our local ISDs. We have 4 students currently working at the Alley Theater, on tour with Cirque du Soleil, and other institutions and national theaters of record. We have a successful transfer to local, national, and international university. And then outside of theater, we have successful careers in all walks of life. Just last week, a student dropped by to say hi, and he's experiencing a fabulous social services career. All the students, when they come back, they mention how valuable their time in the theater program was. Theater can change lives, and I'm going to share with you a personal story. My son was diagnosed with autism, and if 2 years ago, if you met him, you would think that he's probably a normal kid, just a little quiet, a little shy. His closest circle of friends was an online community. He spent a lot of time in isolation. 2 summers ago, we did a production at the Montgomery campus called We Live by the Sea, about an autistic girl who is trying to make her way through life. I told my son, congratulations, you're our autism expert and assistant director. He unwillingly said yes. And he came in, and that first week we spent a lot of time talking about the character. My son would relate to the character and talk about why she was feeling the way she was feeling, why she was acting the way she was acting. It was difficult for him at first. At the end of that first week, we were driving home from rehearsal, and he said, all my life I've been trying to hide who I am. And this past week I've been forced to talk about it. And it's kind of liberating. We went on in that production. He continued to give us input. We created original music for that production. So he'd sit with the band and talk about how autism sounded. And they would write the music and create the sounds. My son was destined for a career in computer science. That's what he was going to do, probably go to Texas A&M. Towards the end of the summer, he started asking me about theater and maybe what classes he would take if perhaps he wanted to become a theater teacher. He got involved with his theater at school. He now participates he went to his first sleepover 2 years ago, has kids over at the house. Now the bulk of his friends are in person and his online friends are still there, but he doesn't spend nearly the time that he did with them. You see, my son found his voice, and that's what theater does. He has decided he does indeed want to be a theater educator. When choosing his college, thankfully, he's blessed with his mother's brains, and he's got good grades and great test scores. He can pretty much go wherever he wants. Next year, he has one destination in mind, and that's Lone Star College. Thanks to dual credit, he'll enter as a sophomore and spend a year with us before he transferred to the Texas State University's BFA program in theater teaching. I'm looking more forward to my next year teaching than anything I ever had in my life. Apologies for the tears, but as the chancellor demonstrated in his coronation, sometimes that's okay. Yes, theater can indeed change lives. And like I said, what can you do with a theater degree? Anything that you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Trustee Stoma, would you like to make a comment?
No, just carry on. No.
Do we have any trustees here present that would like to make a comment?
Yeah, congratulations and thank you. You know, you often get actors on who win awards and they'll say, deep down, I'm a shy person. I don't like, this and that. And I say, oh, come on, it's not, it takes a lot. And I think you kind of show sometimes it's that passion or that, desire, whatever. There's so many things. Many years ago, I remember I had a friend who would invite me to those community theaters. And I would enjoy it and all that. And I said, I told him, I think you want to do this. You just, because you really, and he says, that's what he says, I'm too shy. There's no way I can get in front of maybe a few people, not a lot. And I freak out, it's sort of, I guess it happens to everybody, right? But I remember I gave him an idea. I don't know if I ever followed up on it, but I told him, just start a AA group, acting anonymous, so that you can practice with people and then you perform for each other. And he says, actually, I did hear there's something like that going on somewhere. I don't know. So I never followed up with him on that. But anyway, it just shows you that there's so much interest and passion and desire out there. But it takes a little courage as well. And I think that's why the skill sets that you built and you encourage are very valuable across the different fields. It's not only, it's not only this one. And I think you guys do a great job. Thank you.
Trustee Beza.
Yeah, congratulations, sir. I think, and congratulations to your son as well. I think that programs like these are extremely valuable because they can give students that sense of belonging that a lot of times that they don't even know that they need or that they crave until maybe that they're voluntold to do something or presented with something that may take them out of their comfort zone. Someone did that for me a while back, and I think that it was very valuable for me and for my future. So I'm really excited for your son and for yourself and for all of the other students in the theater program. And I look forward to attending a play, hopefully soon. And congratulations. Thank you.
Trustee Wilson.
Thank you for being here and thank you for your presentation and congratulations. And maybe next year you can come back with your son so we can meet him. You know what I'm saying? Because I drive special needs, so I get it. You know what I'm saying? With kids with autism, it's really hard for them to communicate and for him to find his zing. I think that's awesome.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Vogt.
I was the chairman of the Montgomery County or the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce, basically. And I'd never had much speaking responsibilities. So I was not much of one. And I think that's something we should all look to. And certainly the stage is the place. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Chancellor.
Yes. So first, one of the things that I've said to employees over the last couple of years is there's no higher compliment to us as an institution than when a parent sends their own child here. And so thank you. What a wonderful compliment about how you view this institution, that you're willing to send your own child here. Secondly, I want to seriously invite the board, please reach out to Ms. Barnett if you ever, in fact, Ms. Barnett, what we'll do is we'll start sending the board all of the theater productions if you guys would care to join us, we'll make sure to get you tickets. I recently, one of the things that I said in the very beginning is I'm trying to normalize the Chancellor showing up in random events without sort of it being this sort of much to do. And one of the things that I did is I took my entire family to Hello Dolly over at LSC Tomball. And it was amazing. I'm telling you, I've gone to shows on Broadway and it was Broadway level good. There's just something very beautiful about sort of the arts that allows us to transport to, take a break from our everyday life. And not everything has to have sort of an outcome. And I think that's the sort of really beautiful thing about the arts. But Hello Dolly was amazing. My family and I, my two kiddos and I were still talking about it on Sunday, and we went on Friday night. I ran into some of the faculty members. I didn't even recognize them out of costume. And they're like, thank you so much for coming. And I was like, oh, you were so-and-so. And it was really like meeting a celebrity, because we sat there it was about a 3-hour show just watching these people. And it was just really good, right? And I think part of what's so great about our theater departments is, there's a lot of stigma about sort of whether it's community theater, whether it's community college, but I can tell you that I've been to many plays, and Hello Dolly was probably top 3 easily. And I've paid a lot of money to go to a lot of different shows that were not worth what I paid. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, what am I doing with my life? But Hello Dolly was amazing. So Dr. Nutt, please let the Tomball folks know. And Professor Waits, thank you so much for your presentation. And that beautiful story about you and your son. Every once in a while we talk about enrollments, retention, graduation rates, because ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Trustees, his story is why we exist. And it's beautiful, regardless of what happens next. We helped and see, now I'm getting choked up. We helped a young person find their voice, and what better calling is there for an institution than that? So thank you for sharing that. And yes, there's nothing wrong with crying. It shows that you care. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you so much, Professor. Board members, do we have any special reports or announcements? I'll open it up to the floor to y'all.
Chair, it's Mike Stoma. I've got a report I'd like to make.
Okay.
Monday, April the 28th, I met with Bridget Johnson and Chris Williams in regards to what I'm calling the information systems and technology transformation. This is what's about to happen technology-wise, but it's more than technology, and that's the thing I want to make an emphasis here. That this change in ERP, as it's been referred to, is much more than that. It's going to require change in business processes. It's going to require organizational change. It's going to require an infusion of new technologies and upgrading of older technologies for sure. It's a new way of doing business. It's probably a 3 to 5 year effort. And it's not trivial. It's probably one of the major changes that the Lone Star College systems will go through, because it will change how everyone does their job. I want to commend these ladies, Ms. Johnson, Ms. Williams, on an excellent job they've done thus far. They've taken old, obsolete technology and they brought it back really from the brink of death, so it's functional and even more functional to the students and the faculty. That was not a trivial task, and they're still working on it. They really are at a point where they can begin the journey of this transformation. I've asked them to report regularly on this. I think they've committed to reporting to the board every 4 months, but I've asked them even for a monthly update because it's a long journey. And this board needs to understand it, maybe not be a technical expert in what's going on, but they need to understand the scope of the changes and what it's going to involve. And that's going to happen over time. So again, I want to thank Bridget Johnson and Chris Williams for their time on Monday. They're doing an excellent job and to be commended for almost an impossible task, I would say, given the state that things were in before they entered. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Stoma. Any trustees present that would like to have special reports or any comments?
Yes, I'd like to say, first of all, the step show. I think the step show was amazing. My first time attending an event like that, and I was really impressed with the creativity and the art demonstrated by, especially by everybody, but especially some of the high schoolers. So I want to give a shout out to Carver High School. I was very impressed. And I mean, it like the chancellor said in the beginning, just the creativity and I mean, it, the way they come up with some of the things, and it's more than just stepping, right? It's like similar to theater and community as well. And so Carver High School and Humble High School, I think with their outfits, wow, that was amazing. And I was over here recording videos and sending it to all my friends, and I was very impressed with those high schoolers. So with the step show, I think I'm excited for next year. And next year is going to be better for sure, and we're gonna have more people there for sure. And so, yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to go. April 10th, I attended Lone Star College East Aldine's open house through my role at Aldine ISD, and we took some of our Aldine ISD students. Um, and I think the exposure is very important for our Aldine ISD students. They came with us and volunteered at the open house uh, through the Aldine Votes initiative that we have at the district. There was an attempt to recruit me as a student, um, so I was a little flattered. And they're recruiting me for a program, and they're like, "Can you see yourself making this amount of money?" And I was like, "That would be nice, 10 years ago, yeah." That's a little bit of a pay cut right now, but I got to learn about some of the programs that I actually didn't know that we were offering at the campus. And so I'm happy to learn and not to say that I was incognito or anything like that, but I'm just happy to learn about different programs in an organic way. And I love Miss Tippett's. Huge shout out to Miss Tippett's. I think she does a great job there at the campus, as well as Clint. I think Clint also does a good job there at the campus. And the last thing I want to say is that yesterday, I was at one of our high schools, Eisenhower High School, doing presentations regarding civic engagement, voter education, and I was impressed, very impressed with a young man who happened to be an employee at Lone Star Victory, and him and I had a discussion about something called imposter syndrome, right? And he was asking me about that, and he was telling me how he has been feeling that starting at Lone Star, but just everybody in the office where he works. I think he's in student services. He said that they've been very welcoming. Nobody's been gatekeeping any kind of knowledge. And anytime he has questions, they've been trying to help him and bring him up and get him caught up. And so I proposed to him. I was like, "You ever thought about running for office or anything like that?" And he was like, "No, I feel like I need to be more educated and more get a master's or get a bachelor's or anything like that." And I said, "You have, a lot of knowledge already and a lot of experience in life." And like I said, I was very impressed with this young man and his level of maturity. And I asked him about his plan after high school, and he had an amazing plan. He was like, "I want to be a chef, run my own business. I want to be an electrician. I want to give back to the community through business initiatives." And I said, "Wow, he's 99%, his plan was 99% more thought out and developed than mine when I was graduating high school, because considering I had no plan whatsoever." So I'm very impressed with our institution and just every day, um, just touched and inspired. So that's my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, trustee Mesa. Trustee Wilson, trustee Wilson, yes.
Thank you. So yes, I did attend the step show as well. And to my surprise, people are still talking about it. I seen another post about it on Facebook. I was like, wow. So Dr. Wright, Chancellor, bigger and better next year. Um, also that same weekend, my community, we did a food drive, Dr. Wright and was so gracious and volunteers from Lone Star to come out and help. Just not a food drive, but just giving away, any household things and boots and all this kind of stuff. So I'm grateful for that, because that people see Lone Star. So now, Dr. Wright, whether you believe it or not, they were like, "Is Lone Star coming?" They look for Lone Star, you know what I mean? And I think that's how I want every district, every community to be, is they just expect Lone Star to be there to help and volunteer, and they know Lone Star cares. You know what I'm saying? That was my feedback from that. So I'm grateful for that. And then what were they, Tuesday? Tuesday, we went to University of Houston downtown, and what's it called? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
executed an MOU, essentially a 2+2+2 that starts with a student in Aldine High School, then can transfer to University of Houston
Mhm.
downtown with an associate's degree from Lone Star.
Right.
And the agreement stipulates that the credits are guaranteed
Yeah.
through the entire pipeline. So, you could have a bachelor's degree by essentially 20 years old if you
Mhm.
stay on track with really minimal debt. And so we were there for a
Right.
signing ceremony.
Yeah, so we were there for the signing ceremony, like you said. And I'm just grateful for that because this just really opens doors for our students, you know what I mean? And it's gonna take some of the financial stress from them. And I was really grateful to be there. At first, when I seen Jess, I was like, how many students signed up? He was like, it's not that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. But to see the excitement in the room and to be there and to be in person, this is my first time attending one. So it was really exciting. And I'm excited for the growth in the future that we have, not just our partnership already with Aldine, but with University of Houston downtown. I'm just excited to see that growth. So thanks. Yes, and if y'all know students in y'all classes or whatever of y'all schools, UHD president offered scholarships with 25 scholarships. How many? 25?
Yep. So I think he said they'd given out 6 or 7. So they're
Yeah.
looking for 18 more people to give a scholarship when you're a transfer student to the University of Houston downtown. This is the first year that they're going to offer scholarships like that. So if you have somebody, shoot them my way and I'll get them in touch with Dr. Blanchard.
Right. That's it. Thank you.
Trustee Bode or Trustee Maria? Yeah, okay, that's my turn. Just 2 things. I want to congratulate all of our Low Start College graduates. We're really excited for you. If you're happy to be here or if you're hearing us, congratulations. You have done really, really good and we're extremely, extremely proud of you. Thank you. We can't wait to see you next week and this weekend as well. And then also quickly, happy Mother's Day. Today's the month of May. So we want to say hello and thank you. And we love you, all our dear mothers. Do we have any mothers here? Yeah, thank you. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much. So we now move to, bear with me, to the consideration of the consent agenda. Trustees. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So before we move to the consent agenda, I failed to mention, do we have any committee reports?
I have one. So the Committee on Community Engagement, which I chair along with the members and my colleagues, Trustee Wilson and Trustee Vo, we're working on scheduling our first meeting for May, which is this month. And happy May Day, by the way. So I held a civic engagement meeting with Professor or Dr. Khatri. And Ms. Barnett was there and Jerry also, who implements the Engage the Electorate program, which is our initiative here, civic engagement initiative here at the campus. And so our hope is to make that something that is longstanding into the future. And besides that, I've also had discussions with Lone Star College North Harris to do a Thanksgiving food drive later this year. And my hope is that we can all continue to collaborate and give each other ideas as colleagues on the board, especially Trustee Wilson, who has some experience doing community events. I hope that we can get some of her expertise and use that and share with the rest of our colleagues so that we can do some community events and do some of this amazing work that I know that we all want to do. And so I think that is concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee. Any other committee reports? Hearing none. So now we move to the consent agenda. I hope my colleagues were able to kind of review the consent agenda beforehand. And if so, are there any items to be pulled for discussion or for consideration? All right, hearing none. Let's see. May I have a motion to approve items 1 through 14?
Stoma, so move.
All right, I hear a motion in a second. Um, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? The motion passes. The agenda passes. Thank you. So now we move to the financial report. Dr. Vian?
Hello, good morning, trustees. So pulling up the slides for our month ending March 31st, and you should have all of your information in the slides in your packets as well. As you can see, Lone Star continues to be in a very healthy position, and our revenues continue to track in the right direction. To date, or through the March 31st fiscal period, we have received $467 million in total revenue. Again, with still several months remaining in our fiscal year, the largest percentage of that continues to be taxes as expected, with 231 million in revenue to date received for taxes, tuition and fees, 134 million. State appropriations, 85 million. And again, as reported in previous month, we did receive the second of the 3 pay from the state in February to the tune of the $28.4 million. We have no maturities for our investments in March, and interest earned as reflected in the revenue paid in March was 103,750, and interest earned on securities not paid in March was 196.96. So looking at expenditures, we again continue to looking at salaries being our largest expenditures with 165 actual expenditures through March of 31st, with again salaries being the highest of those expenditures as expected. Again, just another visual way to look at that. So if you're looking at it from a fiscal year, we have received 91% of our budgeted revenue through March. So again, with 5 months remaining, that is obviously in a good, healthy position, and we continue to track in the right direction in terms of our revenue. And again, in line with about where we were the same exact time last year. Looking at expenditures, we are tracking a little bit down in terms of what we have expended in terms of budgeted for the year through March at 49.3%. So we still have 249 million in remaining expenditures that were budgeted with 5 months remaining in the fiscal year. When you're looking at the financial statements, the only variance noted for this particular time has to do with FAST funding. And you can see the 556,849 in FAST funding. That is actually related to how we are reporting that from an accounting entry. It doesn't mean that we were receiving less, but it was based on how the external accountants are recommending that we receive FAST funding. Just to remind everyone, that is still a new product of House Bill 8, and we're continuing to tweak the accounting on that. FAST funding is delayed for receipt for FY25 thus far. They're still trying to true us up for the fall. That is a known issue, not reflected of the variance, but I did want to point out that we may still continue to track that. We're hoping that the coordinating board starts to shore us up for fall and spring very soon. We received a report earlier or late last week that they would. There was a change in some of the data required, and so it's my understanding the TEA and the coordinating board are working to exchange the data to pay all of the community college. So it's not just a Lone Star concern. It is something that all the community colleges in the state are asking about where their funds are. So we'll continue to monitor that, but just wanted to make you aware of that known variance and potential impact on our forecasted revenues. Looking at the expenditures, there was no significant variance to report through March 31st. The rest of the agenda items in your packet would contain additional information. The balance sheet and other documents are in there, as well as looking at the cash reserves as requested. We still continue to hold the 169 for cash reserves as requested. Happy to entertain any questions that the board may have. Colleagues, any questions or comments?
Trustees, Stowe, any questions or comments?
No, it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hammond. Thank you so much. So now we move to closed session. So after we adjourn to closed session, we will be coming back just to reconvene the meeting, suggest future items, and then adjourn. So you're more welcome to stay or leave, but that's all we're doing after closed session. So I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you so much. Have a very good weekend for those who are leaving. If you're staying, wonderful. So we now move to closed session and it is 11:45 p.m.